Hello Wanderers and everyone else, thank you for watching. I just released my second game by myself, and in this video, I am going to cover some of the general challenges that I faced, as well as some technical ones while developing and releasing the game. I hope this video is interesting, especially to those of you who are planning to make a game by yourself, or maybe you're already making a game by yourself, and without further ado, let's dive in. By the way, I just want to mention that this is based on my own perspective, so maybe the challenges that I faced might not be much of a challenge for you. So about a year ago, I made an endless runner game on mobile called Spacocat, or Spacocat. This was the first game that I completed by myself, and the experience of developing solo was a lot different than working on something with other people. When I was working on my second game called Eggs, Beans and Leaves, and by the way, if you're wondering why the title is named like that, I actually collaborated with my YouTube viewers to come up with the game idea, so the title might sound a little bit unusual and unheard of. Anyway, even though this was my second game that I developed by myself, I still experienced a lot of challenges. So obviously, because I am working alone, this is, from my point of view, one of the biggest challenges that I faced. This is because, well, I had to do everything. I was designing the game, as well as programming, creating art, making sound effects and music, and in between, I was also testing features, facilitating playtests, and handling all the app submissions and release. Oh, and I was making YouTube video as well. It was a challenge to grind hard and work on everything by myself. But I think after developing my first game, I am a bit more comfortable now to wear different hats. Also, I think I am not that good at using all of these skill sets, so I try to challenge myself to keep studying C#, check out new Unity features, and explore Reddit and YouTube for cool game dev stuff to learn about. I also ask other people for help on forums and search Google a lot for answers. I think it's really important that in this kind of situation where you're doing everything by yourself, it's efficient to develop something that is manageable, which brings us to the next challenge, scoping your game. When I was coming up with the game idea with Wanderers, my YouTube community, I wanted to make an awesome 3D game where you can roll around in third-person perspective and fight a bunch of powerful bean enemies. I think that sounds more exciting and better than what I made. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, the reason why I didn't stick to that idea was because I usually follow this scope triangle, which shows us that these three factors have trade-offs. For example, in order to make something of a higher quality or high quality, your time and cost will have to increase as well. The cost, by the way, could mean resources like people and actual money that you have. Because I am working alone, the triangle's resource corner is probably super tiny in comparison to the ones that would represent, more than one person. If I want to make something of a high quality, like maybe the 3D game that I was talking about, or a better 2D game than what I currently have, I would probably need more time and resources. However, I don't have a lot of money or resources, so the quality is probably going to be reduced because of the trade-off. Anyway, the whole point is, while developing the game, I had a lot of fun ideas like creating a bunch of levels instead of endless limited rooms to make the game progression more engaging. Moreover, I wanted to implement additional upgrades, skills, and enemies. But I had to manage my workload well, or else the development time frame will continuously be prolonged. So it was a challenge to press down my desires and keep the game under scope. However, I think even if I did scope my game very well, if I didn't follow my schedule, the game wouldn't have been finished. I am the only person who is working on the game, and if I didn't put hours in every day, Eggs, Beans and Leaves would have probably been released, I don't know, sometimes in the future. or maybe not at all, unless Scarlet Witch finishes the game for me. Anyway, this brings us to the next challenge, stick to the schedule. Not going to lie, I do slack off from time to time, and I love watching movies or playing games, or both. However, I am aware that if I don't work on my game, my project is just going to sit there and become super dusty. One of the methods that worked really well for me to tackle down tasks and continue to move forward with the game is by using Trello and 1-week sprints. I use Trello for organizing my tasks, and there's this really nice power-ups or extension tool called Agile Tools by Corello. The Agile Tools allowed me to add story points to the task, and by prioritizing and labeling cards correctly, I was able to easily measure my weekly workload. In addition to seeing all of my tasks in one eye view, I used 1-week sprint so that I can quickly advance forward, and I also have rooms to maneuver my tasks easily. There are times when I don't know something or my plan suddenly changes a little bit because I'm working alone. And whenever that happens, because I am under 1-week sprint, I can quickly reschedule my tasks. While I do try to stick to my schedule every day, there are a lot of times when I worry about my future and my game's future, which brings me to the next challenge, realistic expectation. So there are a lot of really good games that a solo developer had created. An awesome example of this is Undertale, Stardew Valley, Papers, Please, and many more. However, on the other hand, there are also probably 100 times more better games that companies have created. And not to mention that we are all in the same market, basically fighting for competition. This means that most likely my game or myself won't make a lot of money or become successful overnight. However, I do have this dream and also expectation that if I continue to build experience and more games, I will maybe in a long marathon make something that will interest a lot of people to play. Or if all fails, I'll get a job, I guess. I think having a realistic mindset is a challenge, actually constant challenge, because if you don't, you can get carried away and think that you'll be making something groundbreaking. Or you can go the other way and think that because it's not going to be groundbreaking, you could probably stop what you're doing and quit. I had a couple of more difficulties that I faced, but I can't remember for now, so here are some technical challenges that I experienced. You might already know this or not, but here we go. One of the issues that I faced was activating Google Admob on iOS devices. I used Unity ads last time for SparkleCat, but this time I used Google Admob instead. The reason was because I wanted to try out Admob and see if there was anything significantly better than Unity ads. One thing that I remember was that when the game was released, Unity ads showed ads right away for all platforms. However, when I used Google Admob, the ads were shown immediately for Android devices, but it took around a week for the ads to be activated for iOS devices. This was because it took a bit of time for the iOS app to be shown and linked on Google Admob settings page. The next issue that I faced was the Cocoapods installation problem when I ported my game to iOS and tried to upload to the App Store by using Xcode. This most likely happened because I was on a new MacBook and Xcode wasn't used before to upload something. Maybe this is an easy issue to fix for Mac users, but as a Windows user, this error was new to me, and I resolved the problem by going to the terminal and installing Cocoapods through below commands. Another issue that I faced is pretty embarrassing, so I won't talk about it. Just kidding. When Unity tried to build a game, it threw an error saying that unitylinker.exe did not work properly. The weird part was that this error did not appear when I was building for Android, but when I was building for iOS and desktop, the error appeared. I later found out that after researching for hours and debugging my game without no clear result, I simply just renamed the project title with no spaces between the words, and the error was gone. So I think Unity Linker did not work properly because there were spaces between the title and it was searching for something like eggs, comma, and nothing else, instead of eggs, beans, and leaves. Lastly, when the game was released, a couple of people quickly saved my life and reported issues like how the Android API level was too low and it couldn't be installed on some devices. There are also few issues that I have to fix and improve, and I am going to keep challenging myself to push through again and update the game. By the way, I do want to mention that whenever you provide me with feedback or just any sort of comments, I guess, it really helps me a lot, and I am super thankful because I don't have a lot of opportunities to get responses. But anyway, I hope this video was interesting, and thank you very much for watching. Watch out for the next game update, and see you later.